Do you really think a good woman or a good man wants somebody that cares way too much about what people think of them? Now, I was like 95% of people that would give way too much attention to what people thought of me. I used to panic about, does this person think I'm good? Does this person think I've got money? Does this person think I'm attractive? I used to give way too much F's about what people thought of me. And I believe that this is the biggest mental disease that you can have, because if you suffer from this, then you will never live life on any form of freedom or terms. You're always going to be constantly battling with yourself about, should I be this? Should I be that? Does this person approve of me? Am I in the right room? And this is the worst thing to have, and you will never truly enjoy life or live life on your terms. But in the last 4 years, I've been able to overcome this mental disease of caring way too much about what people think of me, and I'm going to be explaining and highlighting what those are and how I overcame it and how you can start doing it today. Now, just to give you guys some context, growing up, I wasn't very educational. I didn't come from wealth. I left school with no grades. I was working really crappy jobs. So I had no self-esteem. I had no confidence, and I was always worried about what people thought of me. I used to even fabricate when I was younger, growing up, about what job my mum and dad had, where I came from, because I was embarrassed to tell people the real story. I used to feel like I was inferior to these other people. So let me break down the common traits as humans that we think too much about, and then how we can overcome them. So as humans, we're engraved to have this survival and belonging mindset. So we should belong to a certain group, and if we can't resonate with that group or feel like we can compare to them, then we're the outsider. So as humans, we naturally have this problem. The next thing is people have an identity crisis, which means they don't really know who they are. They just copy other people that seem popular and successful, because they think if they copy that identity, they're going to get the same output of results. So straight away, a lot of people don't even have their own self-identity because they're too busy copying other people. Naturally, that will make you so unhappy because you're not truly being who you are. Now, one of the biggest ones is fear of rejection. So let's say you're trying to go on a date, a woman says no to you. Let's say you want to try and do a business, but let's say your parents say you shouldn't be doing it. All these are signs of rejection, and rejection is the one that hurts people the most because it hurts their ego. They're telling themselves that they deserve this, they have the right to have it, and as soon as somebody says no to them, it hurts them. So it's an ego and a rejection problem. The next thing is insecurity and self-doubt. You don't feel like you belong to this group, or you don't feel like you belong in this room because you don't have the same car as that person, you don't have the same watch as that person, you don't have the same knowledge, or you don't have a girlfriend, or whatever it may be. You feel like you don't belong in that room because of your own self-doubt. Now, the problem with humans, and especially men, is we care way too much about respect and recognition of other men and other people. Now, the next one is financial status. Especially as men, we care way too much about, oh, I'm richer than this guy, I'm richer than that guy, I'm richer than your boyfriend. All of this toxic financial status. We always want to be the bigger and better person. Now let me explain how I was able to overcome all of those toxic traits and mental illness of caring way too much about what people thought of me. Now, the first thing that you have to understand is that everyone is in this mental warfare of comparing themselves to others. So as soon as you understand that 95% of people are doing exactly what you're doing, then you need to learn to let it go. Now, for example, if you go to a restaurant or you go to a social event or a work event, people are naturally going to talk a lot about themselves, and straight away when you meet somebody new, they're going to be like, this is who I am, this is what I do for a job, this is what I drive, this is the house I've got, these are the achievements that I've got. They're already trying to prove themselves to you, and this is the problem. If you indulge in that conversation and you then say, oh, well, this is what I've done, this is what I've done, oh, this is what I've done, you're now doing a deed with the devil. You've got to learn to not allow that to happen. If somebody wants to brag about who they are to you to try and get social approval, let them do it. You should not be defensive and then go back with your own story of who you are. You should just be like, okay, my name's this, and leave it there. You don't need to prove yourself to anyone. So as soon as you say to that other person and agree to then do your little pitch deck of who you are, that is the problem. Just learn to say, this is who I am, and leave it there. Don't even indulge. And remember, the person that talks the most is the one that has the least amount. The ones that are quiet are the ones that you should be worried about in terms of they have the most. So do less talking, let the other person talk. They're worried about what you think of them. Now, you've got to learn to be selfish with your own life. And although this might sound weird, you've got to learn to take your life as priority and forget about everything else. Of course, family's important, etc., etc. But if you don't show to people that you care more about your life than anyone else's, then they've already won against you and you're going to start panicking and worrying. At the end of the day, only you're going to be able to increase your fitness. Only you're going to be able to increase your financial status. Only you have the responsibility to do all of this. So stop looking for recognition of other people and just start worrying about yourself. You've actually got to learn how to deal with yourself instead of others. As soon as you conquer and master dealing with yourself, enjoying to be with yourself, enjoying to have time with yourself and no one else, the more powerful you'll be at not caring about what other people think. The biggest problem that I see with most people is they don't actually like having time with themselves because they start worrying and panicking. The next point I want to make is victim mentality. Everyone wants to act like they're a victim because if they act like a victim, people are going to have sympathy for them, which is naturally what humans want because people want people to feel sorry for them so they get attention. And the type of attention that you get when you have victim's mentality is people are just going to be nice to you and that's what you want. You need to stop having the victim's mentality and just get on with it and start living life of whatever happens to me is because of what I've done. Every action has a reaction and you have to start thinking like that. If I make this decision, if it doesn't go right, it's my own problem. I'm not going to panic about it. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to want people to feel sorry for me. Stop telling people about your problems. That's a great one. You know, if you've got a big friendship circle, if you have something come up that's a problem, unless it's really, really bad, stop telling people because you're naturally buying into your victim's mentality. When you socialize with people, start giving value instead of asking for value. Too many people want to go to social events, meet new people, and they want, but they're not willing to give. They only care about themselves. You've got to learn to, when you meet new people, when you see friends and family, to start giving more instead of taking. When you show people that you're somebody of knowledge, you're willing to give, you're not somebody that's greedy, people will be a lot better with you and be less opinionated on who you are. And you've also got to understand that you're never going to please everyone. It doesn't matter how much money you've got, what car you drive, what house you've got, you will never please everyone. It's impossible to please everyone. As soon as you understand that, you know, pleasing everyone is impossible, then you will literally care less about what others think. Now, the next point that I want to make is we live in a crazy world. And as long as you have some form of guidance by God, in my opinion, it doesn't matter what religion you are, if you follow some form of religion and you believe in God and you know what right and wrong is, remember, people are going to have opinions based on you, based on the actions that you take. Now, if you've got a good grounded fundamentals of what you should and shouldn't be doing, then straight away you become a better human being. So if you're either spiritual or you believe in God, that is a great way to have a good fundamental thoughts of how life should work, what you should do. Because people will be opinionated on you if you make bad decisions. Now, because we live in a crazy world, it's very hard for people to be pleased with you because it doesn't matter what you say or do, they're always going to find a problem with you. But as long as you live life with good principles by God, then straight away you're already winning. Now, you've got to also think like this. The devil is everywhere, especially in today's age. The devil is everywhere, trying to poison all of us. And you've got to understand that you want recognition from the devil, basically. That's the way I look at it. I know it might sound a bit deep, but you know, you want people to think this of you. You want to make money because you want to make quick money, which means that you're going to make money which is not great money because you've took advantage of people. You know, the things that humans will do just to get recognition, and it's all the devil's playground, is disgusting. And you've got to learn to not indulge in any of that type of behavior or business, because as soon as you do, it's very hard to come back out. As long as you have a book and a guidelines of what you know is right and wrong, you won't care what people think about it, because you know that these rules that you've got are good rules, and even if somebody doesn't think they are, based on the crazy world that we live in now, it doesn't matter. Now let's talk about self-discipline. This is the one that causes, I think, some of the biggest problems for humans and us thinking too much about what people think of us. We have lost self-discipline in this crazy world that we live in now because we're given literal drugs in loads of formats that we can take instantly. Dopamine, you know, all these social media things you can do, you know, people go and watch things that they shouldn't be watching because it's easy to access. So humans over time have lost all the self-discipline that they need to remain strong with themselves and not to care what other people think. How are you meant to improve on becoming more financially stable or richer? How are you meant to get better with your fitness and health? How are you meant to lose weight if you've got no discipline? Again, if you are naturally working on those two things, you're going to get confidence over time anyway. But if you've got no discipline to stick to going to the gym, maybe starting a side business, maybe you've gone for a job promotion, how are you meant to get any of that if you've got no discipline? You're too busy watching Netflix, you're too busy on social media, lying in bed, eating really bad food, you're not eating a good diet. All of these things are going to contribute towards you having no self-esteem or confidence. If you're overweight, but you know that you're working on getting fit and fitter and you're working on getting a good physique, even if you walk down the street and think, oh, you know, based on your own thoughts, I'm trying to improve on myself. But if you know you're not and you're just going home and binging again and again and again, those thoughts that people have for you, they're going to eat away because you know it's true. So unless you're able to work on these things, discipline and working on yourself for yourself will give you the confidence you need. Because even if people have these thoughts, you know, when I hear people say, oh, this person thinks this of you, I laugh because I know it's not true. And I know I'm working against it. And whatever they say about me, I know in my own mind that I'm doing what I should be doing. You know, if you're watching this and you're a man and you're looking to find a wife or a girlfriend, women like men that have a lot of confidence and self-esteem, but you're not going to get that from getting it from other people. You're going to get it from yourself. Women will know if you've got self-confidence just by looking at the way you walk down the street, you hold yourself, the way you conduct yourself, but that all starts with you. Do you really think a good woman or a good man wants somebody that cares way too much about what people think of them? No. Do you think a future husband or wife wants somebody that goes to the clubs bragging about how much money they make or wanting validation from others? They don't want any of that. Do you think that these future husbands and wives want somebody that seeks validation, seeks the victim mentality? They don't want any of that type of behavior. You know, I'm married and I've been with my partner now for 8 years, and I was with my partner since 15 years old. So you have to ask yourself, going through that whole period of my life, I was, you know, vulnerable to so many things that could damage my relationship and my marriage. And with discipline, it stopped any of that from happening. If you're seeking happiness from others and you're not happy with yourself now, then it will never work. You know, finding a future husband and wife is a lot easier when you're happier with yourself. You're going out doing things that you're interested in, you've got hobbies, you're doing things because you like them, you're not a weirdo that, you know, is seeking validation from people and you're hungry to get attention from others. You will naturally attract really good people around you, friends, potential partners, because they're like, oh, this person isn't like all these other weirdos that care way too much about these things. You will naturally be somebody that people will like and want to be around because you have all of these good attributes that you've worked on yourself and you're happy to live with on your own. But anyway, guys, that was pretty much it for today's video. I hope all of the advice I've given can help at least just a few of you guys. And I do believe that you have to build all of these up over time. It's not something that you can crack straight away. It takes time to develop them. But remember, only you can solve this problem. Only you can start doing good habits that can stop you from worrying about what other people think of you. Remember, we live in a world where 95% of people care what others think of them. So you're only going to be in this battleground of being one of those people if you act and behave like one of them. If you don't indulge in it, if you don't encourage it, then you won't have that problem.